Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first episode of the month of July. Plug Talk Sports live show, episode 190. Brandon Hernandez, Jonka Don't Stop, myself, Danny Torres. Before we get into our order of business, I hope that everyone enjoyed a great Independence Day weekend celebrating our beautiful country. But there was two just devastating things that happened over the holiday weekend. Uh, the first one being Diogo Jota, Portuguese soccer player, and his brother Andre Silva passed away in a car accident. This happened 7 days after Diogo had just gotten married. It happened a month after winning the Premier League title with Liverpool and the Nations League title with his country, Portugal. It's understood that he was on his way back to the airport to fly to England to prepare for this upcoming season, and they were traveling, and their car's tire blew, and they went right into the barricade, and unfortunately lost their lives at 28 years old. Um, and then the second has to be right here at home in our own country, in Texas, in the Hill Country. Just flash floods now killed over 90 people, 27 little girls who went to a Christian camp lost their lives. And I just can't imagine, as a parent dropping your little girl off at a Christian camp and then not being able to pick them up or see them ever again. So for both things, we just want to lift our prayers and send our condolences to everybody in these situations. But anyways, let's get into our order of business. This first order of business actually happened this morning. I was in the car returning home from 4th of July vacation, and this news popped up from Shams, and it is that Norman Powell is on his way to the Miami Heat. And then Kevin Love and Kyle Anderson are out of Miami, both going to Utah, I believe. Our NBA insider, as I like to call him, Brandon Hernandez, he's true. Talk to us. What do you think about this trade? What are your thoughts?
I think for the first time this entire offseason, we could say Miami's actually won a trade. Like, Pat woke up. Pat really did wake up around 11 o'clock today. This one actually being a 3-team trade, I believe, including that as well with the Utah Jazz, Clippers, and Heat. Now, the interesting part about this one, because for the Clippers side of the thing, Norman Powell usually playing off the bench, still averaging over 20 points a game. So this might be the second best scorer by next season for the Miami Heat. And then you also look at the side that they got return coming from the Jazz's part, John Collins. So they finally get that lob threat in Los Angeles. Maybe Lob City might be back in some way with him and Derrick Jones. But again, regarding specifically the Heat, this is going to be a really incredible. Again, the production we're going to see in day one. Hero, Powell, that entire backcourt starting might be the best backcourt, maybe top 5 in the East right now. This does push Miami, I think, with a really good starting lineup. And again, a lot of things could happen, but we're looking at a Kellen Ware, Bam Adebayo, Andrew Wiggins, now Powell, who will finally be a true starter for the first time in his career in a long time, with Tyler Hero. And at this point, Tyler Hero might as well play point guard. I got Tyler right now playing at the 1. I'd like that starting 5 roster. If they're unable to move away from Thierry Rozier, you get yourself guys who – they're going to be able to play 25 to 30 minutes. Maybe KP, who, the newest rookie for the Miami Heat, maybe he gets himself a little bit more of a backseat now. Maybe if you don't, move on from Jaime Jaquez, now he gets himself a little bit of a better role on the bench. So I like this trade for Miami, though. I think that if there is like a very underrated move this offseason, this is one of the top 3 underrated moves this offseason so far.
Jack, you want to go, or do you want me to go?
I don't even know how this trade happened. Like, honestly, because I think Pat Riley just fleeced the Clippers and the Jazz, bro. Fleeced, bro. We gave up crumbs. Kevin Love didn't even play, bro, and Kyle Anderson was just a leftover in a trade, and somehow we get the best player out of the entire trade to come to Miami, bro. Hey, now I'm gonna say, Brandon, that the Clippers, bro, with John Collins, Kawhi, and then they have Zubas, and they also got Brook Lopez.
And Harden too.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, the Clippers look nice. They look nice. They also got my boy Jordan Miller over there. Shout out to him.
Yep.
But for the Heat, bro, I gotta say, time has come, and the Heat are cooking now. Pat Riley's cooking. Now we do have a segment later on in the show. It's for hot takes. Now, hold that. I'm gonna hold you a thought there. Stay tuned, because I got a big one.
Okay. I just want to say first, shout out my boy K Love. Jonka knows I was a big fan and supporter of Kevin Love. Listen, I think that Kevin Love, after UD retired, Kevin Love was the main veteran presence in that locker room and held a lot of things together throughout this Jimmy Butler drama that they had in the locker room. I think Kevin Love held it together and it was a veteran presence. Obviously, in terms of play, yes, he's getting older. He's near the end of his career. So yes, this was a good move by Miami. I'm happy Pat Riley finally did something and woke up. This was a good acquisition. I think that Miami really has a young core right now. The East is wide open. And Brandon, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Miami has one open roster spot available left. So who knows what they will do with that?
That is true. That is very true. They do have one roster spot left out of the NBA's main 15. And on top of that, because that's a report from Anthony Chang from the Miami Herald, it looks like with the trade, puts Miami in luxury tax territory, hard caps the Heat at the first apron. So you're not looking getting fined at all in the second apron, which is, I believe, a little bit close to you're spending over 200 plus million for the total roster. So this is a move where not only, again, boosts the starting lineup, usage player like Norman Powell, you also find yourself, you can financially look at other guys. Now, I'm not saying go out and get Damian Lillard. I'm not saying, let's get Chris Paul for his last year in the NBA. But you have that movement now where it wasn't before. So this is huge for Miami, though. I think that opens up a lot of doors. And I'm not saying, veteran minimum doors. There could be another big piece in this later in this summer. Not saying it's Damian Lillard, because I don't want to be like, oh, wait till May. Wait till May when he's like better. But again, the door is open. Definitely more than ever.
And also, I don't really see a clear front runner in the East right now. I think the door's wide open. I mean, the only two teams I would think of, I just want to say three, not two, because New York's got to be in the conversation. Indiana, they got to be in the conversation because they made the finals, but they're going to be without Halliburton, confirmed today, actually, for the rest of next year. But then you got to add in Cleveland. I got to throw Cleveland in there.
Cleveland.
I got to throw Cleveland in there. I think Cleveland could be a front runner going in for the East.
I don't know. They got to make an Eastern Conference Finals. So
you're not going to throw our northern friends up there from Orlando?
Actually, that is a great point, because again, I've been telling people this for a while. I've seen it, not just because the jerseys look nice now, which also shout out to the Orlando Magic with a rebrand. I know a lot of people are hating the NBA teams going with the ball, like the circle type of logo now.
Yeah.
But this was the logo. This looks nice. The jerseys look amazing. I wanted to drive up to Orlando to just get a jersey. That's how good these things are. You know what I mean? That's how good these things are. I'm pretty sure a Cole Anthony jersey is probably on sale right now with him being traded. But I do like Orlando. Atlanta is so sneaking in there. Guys, I'm telling you right now,
Yeah.
Atlanta is like one of those teams I'm eyeing like it's like a Dove chocolate bar. You know? Like I don't want to I'm telling you, I don't want to touch it because I know it's gonna melt the moment that I grab it. But man, it's so good. Porzingis, Trae Young, Nikhil Alexander Walker, like that looks so good on paper. I gotta see it on the court first, so I don't want to gas them too much. But I like Atlanta in the top 5.
Would you say, Brandon? Now let me know. You too, Daniel. Now with Powell and whatever else you want to add in there, are the Heat better or just as good as Detroit? Because the Detroit has impressed me, bro. Hey, they beat her asses this year, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
But it's just about depth. At this point, it's just about depth. So for when you look at Detroit right now, obviously with Jalen Duren with the starting lineup, and then Duncan Robinson, who just went across the East to Detroit, coming from Miami. It's a good roster. But I'm just curious what happens with Malik Beasley. If Malik Beasley is somehow reprimanded, we don't see him in Detroit at all. That's a missing piece right there. Still a young team. Put New York in a turnstile, So I put Detroit right now on top. But if Miami, again, if they can boost the depth a little bit, replace Rozier with some real, scores, some real playmakers, then we can see hey, I could see a path for Miami in a playoff position, maybe in the second round. I'm not going to say anything further than that. Highest expectation right now, current roster, is probably the second round, if not a deep first round Game 7 exit. Maybe that.
I do think from the Heat's perspective, they are better than what they were yesterday, for sure. I kind of have to agree with Brandon. If this stays the same and they don't add any depth or anything to the roster, late first round, second round exit. But if they can add something that is going to even further improve the roster into that final spot, that can really push them into that opening that's in the Eastern Conference.
How do I explain this for this? Okay, we got Ware at center. I guess we're gonna move Bam to the 4. Would you put Wiggins or would you put Jovic at the 3? Bro, because think about it. Wiggins, listen, I'm serious. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Because Wiggins, yes, he did come in. He had some flashes, but he didn't really impress me. From what he did in the Warriors, it was like a drop off. And honestly, I think he's getting traded. To be honest, I think he's gonna get traded. So, but then you got Powell, and then you got Hero, and then you got this new rookie point guard. Who are you gonna throw in there to start? Are you gonna leave out Wiggins or are you gonna leave out Jovic? Because let me just say this right now. The whole point of the KD trade was because you didn't want to get rid of Jovic. So what are we playing here, guys? And this whole time, Andrew Wiggins has been thrown into almost every trade idea on Twitter.
I mean, and not even that. We also had, I believe it was mainly reported that they were potentially trying to ask the Lakers for Wiggins in a trade deal that would have sent, Connect as well as another player to Miami. So he probably will be shopped around. There's no doubt about it. We're going to hear reports about it all the time. But in the sense of him and Jovic, one-time NBA All-Star, NBA champion, had a 42-point game in a Heat jersey last year. All right? And his name is AW, Andrew Wiggins. All right? So I know a lot of people look at Andrew Wiggins as some sort of wash kid or whatever. The man's 30, maybe 31, maybe 20, whatever his age is. It's not like a downward slope in his career right now. I think that if you are Miami and let's say you go to the season, there's nowhere you could place Wiggins or no way you could place Jovic. And for the whole Jovic thing too, I think that's just Pat Riley unwilling with the young guys. You know what I mean? Because the last thing you want as a GM, especially at his age, at 70-some years old, you trade a one player and he turns up being an MVP player, everyone's going to immediately go for your neck. You know what I mean? So I would have Wiggins still starting though. Jovic, I think you still, he needs time to progress. His game's gone a little bit better. I won't be lying to you about that. But I don't see him where it's he leads a team at the wing. He takes guys on. There's no isolation game there from him. I think that the best thing you could do is probably put him at the 4, maybe with that 3 spot, 4-3, like a stretch forward, which he does play well behind Bam. I think that'll be good for Miami at least.
I wanted the Wiggins that we saw in Golden State. That's what I got excited for. But look, I think
they wanted a Tatum starter.
what we saw from last year and the players we received in the trade for Jimmy, Davion Mitchell was the one that impressed the most. Wiggins, I was like, it was very underwhelming. And that's why I think because of his underwhelming performances, why many Heat fans and reports are like, all right, we're willing to shop Wiggins around because that didn't impress us much. So if you can get something good for him, I'm A-okay with getting rid of Wiggins.
I think Wiggins got exposed because now without having Buddy Hield and Steph Curry and Draymond as like the focal points of the team, and now you have like, okay, no one's focused on Wiggins. Wiggins is going to be basically wide open. Maybe that's why he was like having a really good, position in the Warriors. Now you bring him to the Heat and you expect him to fill Jimmy Butler's shoes in the trade since he was the biggest like acquisition in that trade. You just throw him in and you expect him to score 25 points a game, throw him into the fire, which the Heat were already like going down in flames already by then. And then he got injured a couple times. There was no consistency. So I gotta see some more from Wiggins. If he let's say he stays on the team and he starts going dookie, I'm throwing Jovic in and holding him accountable, bro, because you're the first overall pick. You're like Brandon said, you're NBA All-Star or whatever. You're
NBA
champion with the Warriors with Steph. You should have that leadership already. You should have that mentality like Kevin Love, where okay, I have the experience now. There you go. Let me take this to this team and then let me show them the ropes. No, so I gotta see to believe it.
So we're gonna switch to something we touched upon last week, and it's funny. Last week we said, well, we gotta see now who the Dolphins shop in the tight end position, and well, later on in the week we got the answer. If not the next day, Darren Waller is coming out of retirement to join the Miami Dolphins. And as we talked about last week, and now having the answer, this is the guy that is taking Jonnu Smith's place. And to be honest with you, I think it makes the whole thing even more comical.
It does.
Go ahead, bro.
I'm telling you right now, guys, I understand the idea of like, man, that's a lot of money. I can't be having a guy paid that much on my team. I totally understand that. If you're Chris Greer, I understand you didn't want to pay Jonnu Smith $12 million. I understand that you didn't want to break the bank after paying Tua and all these different guys, max extensions and things like that. But you can't tell me that you trade a Pro Bowl tight end that broke franchise records. I know I echoed this last week, but broke franchise records for the position in a franchise since the 60s that's had all-time Hall of Fame guys in receiving. You're trying to tell me that at the tight end position, he broke records in receiving yards and receptions, and you move him after a year with him and his agent thinking that we're going to be a Miami Dolphin for the rest of our life? And less than 24 hours, we go out of our way to sign a guy that was retired. I'm telling you right now, Chris Greer wanted Darren Waller. No matter what was going on, no matter if Jonnu was going to get paid, no matter if there was going to even be a negotiable, ask for the contract between him and his agent. The talks with the Steelers, like Pittsburgh knows where they're going. They're going full throttle right now towards a Super Bowl try. Probably going to come out a little bit short, but Darren Waller, and again, we're talking about the guy who, yes, a top 4 tight end when active in the NFL, but hasn't been active in like 3-4 years.
Top 4?
And we're talking about a guy that, again, John, as I repeat, not even active in the last 3 to 4 whatever years that has been. All right,
Has it really been that long?
it's been that long. The guy dropped a whole mixtape.
Oh yeah.
That's the most active he's gotten in the last 3 to 4 years in media.
He also made headlines for cheating on Kelsey Plum.
That too, which
His
for
last
most
game,
males in America, that one was
see that I'm telling you, there's no way I can look at it and think like, man, what a big win, because I need to see this guy on the field work. Like, if it is what we think it is, where it's been a retirement where he hasn't worked out, he hasn't been even close to any other NFL team. Because I'll understand a guy that's still continuing to take reps, work, or whatnot, trying to get an active NFL roster. But this is out of the blue. There was nowhere in sight where people were like, oh, Darren Waller is trying to make a return to the NFL. That was never reported before this trade even happened. So that's how out of the blue it is.
Yeah.
But again, the move itself, it's cheap. It's affordable for Chris Greer, at least at this point, who the past few seasons we've already seen, contract renegotiations with like Terron Armstead or Ramsey, or like you're trying to get yourself in a spot where like you're not going to get penalized by the NFL. But still, I hate the move, to be honest. I love Jonnu. Jonnu Smith was one of the only brighting spots of the 2024 season, and an FIU grad at that point. He was home.
Yep.
Listen, I got his stats right
And
here.
I believe he even said that he was okay with retiring as a Miami
Yes.
Dolphin.
Him and his agent, they were like, this is the place.
Brandon. Listen, his two best seasons were with Oakland and then Vegas when they switched. Was two 1,100-yard seasons. And then from there, it went from 600 to 300. And then with the Giants having a 500-yard season. He only played 12 games that year. The year before was 9, then 11, then 16. 2 full seasons. The 2 full seasons is when he had 1,100 yards. The rest has been 4 games, 12 games, 6 games. So based on that, and also from what we know, he's injury prone and kind of inconsistent from his catches. I'm telling you right now, this is the most brain dead thing I've ever seen. This just proves from what I've been saying about this damn organization forever, bro. Like, Stephen Ross needs to sell the team, get rid of Greer, make a whole new ownership, the whole new coaching staff, whole new everything, bro. This is the most ridiculous thing. You said probably go for a Super Bowl run. No, they're not making no Super Bowl run. I'll tell you this right now. There's no way. Like, I can guarantee you're not anywhere near even a playoff spot this year, bro. The AFC is stacked. Like, even my Patriots, even as improved as we are, probably won't even make it to the damn playoffs either. And we'll probably be second in the AFC East. Listen, it's a brain dead situation. Why would you get rid of your best tight end, the one that bailed you out basically the entire year, and then go and pick up a retired tight end who's making rap videos and doing podcast episodes with John Gruden every single day? Like guys, bro, seriously, bro, what are we talking about? This is bro, the guy hasn't taken a hit in 2 years. I don't care. Yeah, sure, maybe that's it. He's recouped already. He's having fun, bro. But once he gets a real hit again, he's gonna be like, "Oh, I understand why I stopped playing." And then why?
My question, which I understand fully, that if we were in a press conference and we were asking these sort of questions, or this specific question I'm about to tell you guys that we would not get the answer to, I want to know if at the end of this last year, did they already have Darren Waller in mind? Did they already have communications with Darren Waller and be like, all right, this is what we're going to do once the offseason hits?
I can only imagine, man.
I don't think so. Because just thinking about, they didn't expect Jonnu Smith to have the year he did. And he was asking for, I think from what we retweeted, It was 12 million, and I think the Dolphins said it was too high. And it's funny enough how they say that's high, but they pay a CTE filled quarterback $50 million. Hey, that's not my business.
Uh, yeah, man. I just sometimes I think about these decisions.
God, I
Who
love my
supports
life.
these? Is there somebody in that front office? Like, does Chris Greer and Steven Ross, do they just have yes men around them that just say yes to whatever they want to do? Or is there someone in that front office that combats them and be like, this is a bad decision?
Man, this is funny,
Brand,
bro.
and I think Brandon's just here. One, he's like, no, I fully understand. I agree with you. I don't know what's going on either.
Yeah, I mean, also in really sick worlds, I hope that Mike McDaniel was the one that kind of okayed this in a really sick world. I hope McDaniel was like, this will be amazing to have in our offense. I've seen what this guy have done. This will be amazing to have in the offense. So maybe he wanted a more receiving tight end. God knows what, but
What I don't understand, this is my point. Like, we already see that the Raiders are trying to get rid of Michael Mayer because now they have Brock Bowers. Understandable. Michael Mayer is not a bad tight end. He's pretty good. He can block. Why do you pick up Darren Waller and not get Michael Mayer? And even though he's already on the way out and he's trying to look for a new team and a new situation so he can, so he can play, bro. And especially that Tua needs more offensive line help. You would think a blocking tight end would help your situation, especially that you have Devon Achane and Jalen Wright coming in to have a big season. Who's making these ideas? Who's making these plays, bro? Oh my God, they can't make plays on the field or off the field. It's ridiculous, bro. My God, bro.
But
Buy
Dolphins
and
are known for
Jonnu
that.
himself, I mean, Jonnu looked like a block. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh.
when you think of an NFL tight end, that's Jonnu Smith, So that was the blocking tight end they needed. And again, with the whole Las Vegas Raiders tight end situation, they're obviously shopping them around. I would only say that maybe Miami just didn't want to shop this time around. Like, they didn't want to get rid of more assets. Who knows? But, man, to just think you could have just shipped them around to the NFC and not within the AFC. Not saying the Steelers are going to be an insane juggernaut. Who knows with that retirement home over there. But I just can't find myself to think that we got to play Pittsburgh later this year, prime time, and I got to see Jonnu Smith catch balls in a Steeler jersey. That's the thing I just can't wrap my head around. Like, send him to Seattle or something. I mean, damn. For a draft pick, why you have him in the AFC? I don't understand that. Honestly, send him to hell. Sell him to Arizona at this point with Kyler
Bro,
Murray.
they play them this season, bro. It's so bad.
It's ridiculous. I mean, I hope that doesn't bite. I mean, knock on wood here. Hope that doesn't bite
bro,
Miami.
I hope Roger Goodell makes that game prime time, so we can all have a special stream just to watch that.
Oh yeah,
that
it will be
happen live.
It will be prime time in Pittsburgh, out of all places. So I'll be turning the TV off by the third quarter.
What week is that?
That's a great question.
That might be turning it off by halftime.
I'll tell you right now. It is week 17. Wait. 17, 16, 15, 14. Oh my God, in the cold, bro. In the cold. That has 47-7 written all over it.
Unbelievable.
Oh, you guys crack me up. This is unfortunate for the Dolphins. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Like, you can't make it up. You really can't. You really
Not
can't
that
make it up.
Monday night game on ESPN. I can't even tell. I'm glad that we have a Monday night game that's not against the Tennessee Titans this year. Super happy about that. Glad Will Levis isn't tormenting the team anymore.
Bro, Cam Ward screwing up the Dolphins in the same arena, in the same stadium that he played for the Canes. The Dolphins, bro, that would be cinema right there. That would feed generations. Ah,
Anyways,
yeah, bro. Let's go. Let's move on, bro. There's too much depression going on.
moving on. Will the MLB be surprised if the Miami Marlins make the playoffs? And I have a feeling, I know what Brandon's answer is going to be. Look, I think in all the years of having watched the Marlins, there's always this one little spurt throughout the year. You're like, wow, they're getting it done. And then come near October, it's like, wow, they're not getting it done. Is this just one of those little spurts that they're hitting, or are they for real? Are they actually this good?
So I'm telling you right now, because I've been paying attention to the games. I actually went to, funny enough, I only saw one inning of Marlins baseball Thursday this week, which is the lowest I've done so far, week by week basis. They had 3 runs alone in the first inning against Milwaukee from the game that I saw. Oh, my apologies, the Twins, Minnesota Twins.
Minnesota Twins.
I'm telling you right now, this is a team currently above the Atlanta Braves, which if you told me that any part of the season they'd be above the Atlanta Braves, I'd call you ridiculous.
Yep.
And then on top of that, 40-48 record currently. You're talking about a few games away from 500. And let alone 40-48, it's usually around this time of year 20 to 40 something. This Marlins team currently, I don't think it would be a shocker if they make the playoffs. The real shocker would be, will they be competitive in the playoffs? Because we saw in 2023, they go in Philadelphia. That entire series was a whitewash. I mean, they literally spanked the living crap out of us. And the Phillies, again, top team right now in the NL East. So it's about how competitive can they be down the run. Do I think Miami push for a playoff push? Honestly, the Central, that's the only thing I'm really worried about. Not even our own division, because we're probably the most weakest division right now in baseball in the East.
Yeah.
The Central really scares me. We're talking about
Milwaukee.
4 teams being Brewers, Cardinals, Cubs, and Reds, all above 500. They're going to push to take up wild card spots. So if Miami keeps on their streak where you're just talking about winning series after winning series, they should be above 500, hopefully in a playoff spot.
I think that they can make a playoff push, but to your point, as we saw in 2023 against Philadelphia, I think they'll be a little bit more competitive than they were in that series, but I still think it'll be a first round exit for them.
Yeah, like as of right now, while you guys are talking about it, I'm looking at the second half of their schedule, and it's like they come off they start the second half of the year through a 3-game series versus Kansas City, then the 3-game with the Padres, 3 games with Milwaukee, then St. Louis, then the Yankees coming to town, then the Astros, who just somehow just came out of nowhere and just swept the Dodgers like 29 runs to 6. Yep. Like, I don't know, that's some drugged up stuff. I don't even know what that came from. Then a 5-game series with the Braves, then Cleveland, then Boston, and bro, that's a gauntlet right there. It's so tough to say, bro, because
they would have to survive that.
They would have to, bro. Do I expect them to survive that? I don't. Now, I would be shocked if they maybe came out of those games like 500 and maybe kept were the same like 7.5, 7, maybe 6.5 games in that span. Maybe they can make a push. But I feel like those teams are just way so much better than them. It's like I would love to see the Marlins go on a push, but the thing is, like, at the same time, I'm thinking ahead. If they were to make a playoff push, right? Let's say they do somehow make it in a wild card round, right? That boosts the players like overall like stats, right? Now all of a sudden, let's say Yuri Perez, Xavier Edwards, Kyle Stowers, Connor Norby, whoever else you want to include in there. Now all of a sudden it's like, hey, I made the playoffs. I played good this year. You saw what we could do. Now all of a sudden I want more money. and knowing the history of this damn team, they don't put the money up. Now all of a sudden they walk away. This is the issue I have with the Marlins, and when they say they want to win, but at the same time they don't want to win.
They'll fall into another rebuild.
It's the same repetitive motion, bro. Because if they okay, you know what? We'll give you the money. Oh, another team's gonna be like, oh yeah, we'll offer you $5 million more. Okay, bye guys. They won't match it because they know they're not gonna fight for their own players. They say, oh yeah, you know what? We have another farm system. All right, we'll just bring in the next guy. Like, what's the point? So this is the only issue I have. Like, I'm optimistic. Hopefully they do make it. I would love to go to a game, but do I see it happening? No. I think the second half. Look at I guarantee, look, guys. Like, seriously, look at the second half and tell me. Look at that gauntlet, bro. Just like that first 20 games. Do I see them surviving that? I don't.
Hey, I'm telling you though, they've been going against these juggernauts and coming out winning series though. And also shout out to Kyle Stowers, first selection for an All-Star. So shout out him. And John, as you said before, from Stowers to Cabrera, I think honestly, in the sense of a playoff push, though, it will be much on the mound. If you have, I mean, again, we saw this throughout the last 2 weeks or so, but when you have Perez and then also with Cabrera and hopefully Sandy can pick up a little bit off his hump. If the pitching stays solid, if the bullpen stays solid, they can sail the ship right. That's what I'm seeing from this squad. Because obviously Otto Lopez looks like a franchise guy. Obviously Stowers and, Dan Meyer whenever he comes around. We're talking about real hitters. So we got some hitting power, but defensively we got to be right there with the big boys. And, hard second half of the year. Let's try to keep ourselves competitive with that. And then as you said before about, blowing up the team every single year, well, let's just hope that Miami doesn't trade anyone. So I'm going to be absolutely honest. And I'm going to talk not only to the viewer, but I'm going to talk to whoever goes to a Marlin game, probably wears a jersey. If you see any type of trade rumor, call your local Lone Depot Park representative, call your abuelo in Lower Havana, get on the phone immediately and tell someone to go up to management and let them know the chemistry is real. Do not split up this current young team. That's how good this Marlins chemistry looks like. To me personally, looking on the outside, do not trade anyone midway through a run like this. Please don't. I don't even care if they can bring back Yelich. Bro, do not do it. Do not do it.
There's a couple names that we haven't mentioned on this young squad. And I'm talking about Augustin Ramirez, who's playing very well. Yep. Eric Wagaman, also playing very well. And Dane Myers, also another. Do you think that if this team would have still had Jazz Chisholm, if it would have elevated this team even more to what it is right now?
Jazz would have definitely helped, but I think also getting rid of Luis Arias was another big one. That he was a consistent hitter. He gets on base. Hey, shout out to anybody that knows that reference. He gets on base. Hey, bro.
He gets on base.
Guys, look at your sheets. Yeah. Bro, once you're in that situation when you can't get, I think that's what the problem with the Marlins is. That sometimes their offense stales, and then they're in that little mojo over damn, bro, we just can't score, and it gets in their heads, and then there's really no leadership because it's all youth players, and obviously you trade away the people that have any experience or that were there from the beginning because you don't want to pay them, they leave.
Yep.
More money. It's I'm not gonna deal with this anymore because you keep shipping out the best guys. How do you expect me to want to stay if we're gonna? I'm gonna just keep coming in circles, bro. We keep talking about the damn Marlins, bro. I swear.
Does someone know where Griffin Conine is at?
I think isn't he injured?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's injured. Yeah, I think he broke his was it a elbow or forearm or something?
Something like that. It was something more upper body, but yeah, still injured. And again, rehabbing as we speak. So Who knows if he comes back?
I
within
will
the year.
say it is heading to the bottom of the ninth for the Marlins, and they're up 5-1 on the Cincinnati Reds. So looking like they're going towards a victory. And I can't lie, middle to end June and now beginning of July, they've been winning ball games. So hopefully they can keep this up, and we'll see where they'll end up, and we'll keep a tab on them. Of course, we'll talk about them.
It just shows
next segment. Yeah.
You got to win those games at the beginning of the year. Just like here and there, just those losses here and there add up. And you see there's 6-7 games behind. Those little games add up, bro. Like that could be the difference between you making and not making the playoffs. So call on Depot, like Brandon
said. Next segment. Obviously, we watched the FIFA Club World Cup and now the FIFA World Cup coming up next summer. We've heard complaints from players, from coaches. We've seen players, bench players, watch the match inside the locker room. Should FIFA adjust match times for next summer due to extreme heat?
This is the dumbest thing.
Thank you,
You're trying Chelsea FC or whoever it is going across the pond to play in the U.S. You got the top managers in the world. You got the best primetime players. And I'm guessing on top of that, the health trainers are being paid lovely getting paid to help out the best in the world. You got everything you want. AC on the bus. Guys, $1 million suits. You're trying to tell me that you can't survive 87 degrees in Ohio? How cold is it in London for a heat wave? And again, I get it. We're South Floridians. We're used to getting tan. We're used to 11 months of summer. I get it. We shouldn't be the ones telling people from, Birmingham that it's not that hot. But as an athlete playing outdoors your entire life, we got guys from Brazil. You're trying to tell me it's too hot in the summertime in the United States? Stop it. I really don't. Look, if you're in an advanced stage with your health training program where it's like, man, all my trainers have Gatorade on standby. They all got like wet towels. We're in the shade. Like they're not playing at Hard Rock Stadium during the daytime where it's like the away side is just like burning alive. We got the benches right there in the shade. There should be no reason. There should be no reason to change the times. The only thing I would say is that, similar to any road venue for any sport, prepare to be either in the sun, prepare to be, dealing with the fans, prepare yourself. So if you wanted to change the times, I would probably only say maybe we change kickoff from 3 p.m. on a Monday to like maybe at night, to have fans in the building. Like I think there was a game in the group stages where it was in a Mercedes-Benz, and there was barely even a soul there. And everyone was like, oh, what's going on? The club, the tournament's not getting it. It's 3 a.m. during a work day. No one is showing up to see Bayern Munich or whatever. Like, no one's showing up to see that. That's the only thing I would change the time for. Not the heat, for the work, U.S. schedule.
So Real Madrid, if not the biggest club in the world, had 2 match times here at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami at 3 o'clock p.m. And they complained and said that this was the worst. It was so hot that they had to dump themselves in ice baths after the game, and that it was difficult conditions out there. They called it difficult conditions out there on the pitch, and that it was honestly miserable being out there. So there you go. One of the biggest clubs in the world is saying playing at Hard Rock 3 p.m. is miserable conditions. So I guess maybe that's what the Buffalo Bills feel when they come here and play on a Sunday afternoon at Hard Rock Stadium. We can't make this up. The images are clear. Borussia Dortmund's players decided to leave the bench to watch the game in the locker room because it was too hot. And this was in New York City. Like, we can't make it up. You can't. And we got guys with these big, like it's in the NFL when they come down here to play Miami, these big cooling fans, and you see the air blowing out of it right on their bench. I mean, listen. I've been to Europe in the summer. It is hot. It is very hot. Uh, I will say, at least here in South Florida, there's humidity, so you sweat a lot. They don't really have that over there, so I guess maybe that can be the difference of the heat. But I don't know, guys. Maybe we're just built different over here because these guys were not hanging, and these are professional athletes. They were not hanging with the sun.
I was say, listen, this irritates me so far. Is unbearable, bro. This is the most entitled era I have ever seen, bro. You mean to tell me you have the best facilities, the best medicine, the best balls, the best nets, the best shorts, the best shirts, the best women, the best buses, the best everything. Oh, you make millions of dollars. You live in a penthouse where you can see the whole skyline. But you complain about it being too hot. Like, am I missing something? Was Qatar not hot enough when you were playing for your nation? Was that not hot enough? Like,
Well, they did switch that World Cup in December.
In the middle of the desert with sandstorms and everything, that wasn't a problem. But the moment they arrive in the United States, all of a sudden now it's an issue, right? Oh, okay, funny enough. Listen, we're going to talk about it probably in a few minutes. If USA national team doesn't use this to their advantage, like they're saying, like they're like, let's keep it a buck. If that's from what they're saying is that it's terrible conditions, USA should use this to their advantage since we're used to this weather. I'm just keeping it real, keep it 100, because it doesn't make sense. If it's hot, it's hot. Yeah, sure. If it's humid, it's humid. Now I'm gonna say about the times. Yes, I can understand the times were kind of like stupid. Let's be honest. 3 p.m. on a work day, that's not the best situation. I would have made all the games around the U.S. on weekends in different stadiums. That's so that you fill up the stadiums more. People look forward to the weekend. They get to drink, they get to party, they get to buy the tickets, hang out with their families, whatever. And they don't have to, like, bro, like, who wants to go to a soccer game during the week? Like, and then all of a sudden they can't really, like, drink, they can't really eat, they can't do anything because the next day they have to go to work. That's not really, like, logical. That's not how you make money. Mm-hmm. So I would make the games on the weekends, and that gives the players rest, maybe to acclimate and get used to the weather. They're in practice, or like, okay, you know what? Now we're getting used to it. Now we can actually play. Maybe that's what it is, because they just got thrown into right from club straight into this tournament, and then now they're expected to deal with this weather. I think that's what it was. They weren't acclimated enough to the weather to then deal with it properly. I feel like that's what they're. I don't think it is the weather per se. I think it's just them being pussies. I kind of say sorry about that. Like, I would say, I gotta say it as it is, bro. I gotta say this. If I was making millions of dollars, I would not be complaining one bit, buddy. Go, like, bro, seriously. Like, excuse my French, bro, but I gotta say it as it is.
I will say there is 4 indoor stadiums for the World Cup next summer. I could golly guarantee you that many national teams will be fighting to hope to be playing in those stadiums more frequently. That's Atlanta, Dallas, Los Angeles, and Vancouver. So those 4, hopefully some people will be very happy that they'll be playing in those indoor stadiums. So
I hope those players get South Florida. I hope they get South Florida.
Finally, the time has arrived. The final topic of the night. We've got 10 minutes for it. It is something that we're trying new tonight that we want to talk about, but it is a hot take. Give us your hot takes. I'll start with mine, and you guys are already going to be pissed off when I say it, but I think that the Dallas Cowboys have a good chance of winning the NFC East. I really do. I think that they have improved this offseason. I think that they can challenge Philadelphia and Washington. I'm not saying they're going to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying all that. But I am saying that they have a good chance to win the NFC East. They got two good receivers now, just not just one. We've picked up great offensive linemen. We got a great defense. I think that they can win this division, and I do think that is a hot take.
Well, let me not even respond to that. You know what? Let me not even respond to that. Because when people think of that division, they're thinking about Washington and Philadelphia. Now, again, when the season starts, maybe we have a different storyline, but I'm sticking with Washington and Philadelphia.
Okay.
But
that's fine. That's fine. We'll take that. We will take that. You guys
so I do have two hot takes.
Okay.
Now, again, I don't want to, because again, I came here with two because I just saw this the other day and I was just like kind of pissed off about it, been pissed off about it for a little bit. So my first one, I'm gonna make it quick. The United States men's national team for soccer. I don't know why we go out of our way to talk about the Gold Cup. I don't know, we go out of our way to showcase so much for the Gold Cup and productions and commercials. And for some reason, we always have our BC team combining to take on everybody else. Like, are these guys going to the World Cup? Are they getting chemistry or something like that? Is this the G League? You know, like I'm watching the final against Mexico. Again, we score early, right? Fourth minute goal.
Yep, Chris Richards, God bless him. We give up to going through that entire second half, look like a total shell. And it's like the roster's always new for every single Gold Cup. There's no real chemistry for this United States men's national team when it comes to that. And I just ask myself, Holistic can get a few days off. Reyna can get a few days off. You know, let's bring in the real A team to show, like, yes, this team will be ready for the World Cup when it's on our doorstep next year. I haven't seen that yet because I never see this A team in a real tournament unless it's like CONCACAF National something. Nations League, yeah.
That they make up. So that's one of my take. The other one, which is my main hot take, and I got a lot of flame for this, mentioning it's a few NBA spaces. Because I truly mean this now. There's going to be a weird smirk, I know. So I first watched...
Say it with your chest.
So I first started watching VJ Edgecombe when he was playing the Bahamas at a U13 on FIBA YouTube channel. I couldn't believe my eyes. The athleticism. I thought this man was like freaking like 30 already. He looked like a whole different score, a whole different type of breed of, player, right? At Baylor, he had an incredible career. He went out of his way, one and done. Honestly, the only way he could have gone out was in March Madness against Cooper Flagg. Now, hold on here. This is where it gets really twisted. Cooper Flagg ending off his collegiate career at Baylor. I'm like, okay, cool, but he still showed out, real athleticism. He goes to Philadelphia. This is a top 3 draft pick here. I watched the tape of his first summer league game. 28 points against Ace Bailey in the Utah Jazz. Again, first game, summer league debut. Can't be saying too much. But I've been saying this a lot because I watched them in the Bahamian team going against international guys, grown men. I seen them at Baylor. I seen the future. I believe out of that draft class, he will have a better, and I mean career, a better career than Cooper Flagg. Now, I mean that with my chest out. I can get a lot of flame for this because I understand Cooper Flagg. He already played scrimmage with the U.S. men's national team for basketball in their program with LeBron and Anthony Davis and got, the okay from them. And Gatorade guy, the monster from Maine, some people might call them. But I look at Edgecombe, and again, I hate the fact that Philadelphia got him. But that is the hottest take I'm rolling with right now. I love Edgecombe. I honestly think that if he stays on Philadelphia and he works it out with Maxey, that will be a real threat in the next 5 years.
I'm not hating it, Jonka. I'm not hating it. I could see that. I could see that. It is a hot take, but I'm not hating it.
Now here's the hot take everybody's been waiting for since the beginning of the show.
Oh God, here we go. Hey, Brandon, make sure you're strapped in because this probably is going to be.
It's gonna be if it's Patriot related. I swear to you.
No. You don't want that smoke already, Brandon. Let's go.
Right,
the Dolphins already got inflamed enough. I think this Powell move is just a smoke. It's just all smoke for a bigger trade.
Okay.
Think about it. Before this Powell move, before this trade, he had no big acquisitions to make a trade for, let's say, a Giannis, right? Now they got Powell. Now they can probably possibly include a Hero or a Bam in the trade, include some picks. Maybe okay. There was no way we were gonna be able to trade for Giannis without a player like Powell. Yes or no?
There was a way.
We'd have to give the entire bench, bro. I'm just saying. Tell me, I'm saying a hot take. It's a hot take. That's what I'm saying. Now, second one. This is recently. I think Daniel's gonna like it. I've been spamming him on Instagram and TikTok about it. There is no show that will ever be equal or greater than One Piece. It has taken over sports, soccer, baseball. Bro, you can't beat it.
You don't think our show's better than it?
I'm sorry, Daniel.
Wow.
I'm sorry, bro. Tell me when you have more.
Brandon, I knew I liked you better.
Bro, Jonka, we don't have 1,000 episodes yet, man. But by that time, we'll be up there, man. We'll be up there.
We'll have a masterpiece of collection.
Yeah. But One Piece is a good show. That's not a hot take, though.
No,
I mean, it's not JoJo's, but it's a good show.
People like to flame on it because it's so long. But I'm just telling people, bro, millions and millions of people are watching it. It has sold over 500 million copies worldwide. It is, I think, the author is the sixth highest grossing author in history, one being William Shakespeare. Just put that into perspective. Yeah, exactly.
You can't say Shakespeare in the same sentence as One Piece.
No,
you cannot say Shakespeare.
Sold number one, and he lived almost 300, 400 years ago. Bro, that's how many copies he sold, bro. And it's taken over soccer, baseball, and I think and basketball too.
Yeah,
bro.
Tell
me, name me one show that has done that. That is even equal to that.
The Sopranos. No, not even The Sopranos. Seinfeld. They're everywhere.
Listen, the garbage that comes out of this man's mouth sometimes it's Brandon, I've been listening to Jonka. How long we've been friends since 7th grade? How long has that been? How many years have we been friends?
So 2010 was 6th grade, so 2011.
Okay, since 2011, I've been hearing this man say the craziest things that you can ever imagine come out of his mouth. And this is just my reaction now when I hear it, because it literally just baffles my mind. He literally just said the Heat trade Bam Adebayo or Tyler Hero.
I said could potentially include him in a trade for Giannis.
You know what I would say though to that?
It's possible, bro.
It is possible, but I think in a bigger scenario though, because in a very Brian Windhorst type of way. Because a part of the trade though, Kyle Anderson leaves. We have an extra person. But we also get rid of a few draft picks.
That's fine.
But they went to Utah. What are the Jazz doing?
No, wait.
Good point.
Utah got Kevin Love, Kyle Anderson, and a 2nd-round pick from the Clippers. We didn't get rid of a pick. We only got Powell.
But again, that pick went over. So what is happening in Utah right now? We're talking about
Nothing.
a young team that had a star player that potentially didn't want to go because of his agent and
Mitchell?
is making room.
Oh, you think? Nah, bro. There's no way Giannis is gonna ask to go to
Oh
Utah,
God,
bro.
this is even
No,
worse.
That's
Not
even
even that.
worse, bro. Come
Not even
on.
that, because I like the Mitchell part. Because if you think of the Cavs and you talk about a real potential future in the East, I'm just blowing smoke. I'm just blowing smoke.
Oh,
I'm joking.
okay, I was about to say, bro.
Oh,
Like,
I'm
I
just
don't know where
putting
your head is
Brian
going.
Windhorst there.
bro.
Either way, but yeah, One Piece is a good show. They're taking over. Fan appreciation nights. Waiting on a bobblehead. Honestly, if the Marlins can do a bobblehead, that would be huge. Also, shout out Leyland. He had a bobblehead for his Legends, Marlins Legends.
Brandon, that'll never happen. You know why? Because I'll say later, lo cubano aquí, they ain't know what that is, bro.
A bobblehead?
No, bro. One Piece.
No, why would they know?
Exactly. So no one's gonna want to get a One Piece bobblehead here.
He's not talking about a One Piece bobblehead. He's talking about this guy.
No, well, if the Marlins did something with One Piece and did a
Right.
bobblehead,
Thank you. Come
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
bro.
I mean, the Red Sox also did one.
see, so you never know. You never know. Now, if they have the JoJo Bizarre Adventure one,
Bro.
then I'll jump on that. If they got a speedball run bobblehead, oh my gosh, that show has everything.
Bro, I
dude.
recommend season 2 of Blue Lock. Season 2 of Blue Lock. Watch it. It's fire.
Okay, that's off topic.
We're this is it. This is
Hey,
it, folks.
it's sports related.
This is it. This is gonna end episode 190 on this note before we get Jonka all riled up here.
Hey, I can talk for hours, baby.
Yeah. You get your own pie. It's not gonna be it. Now on Plug Talk Sports. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. We hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Check out our new plugged in episode with Alejandra Salazar, video producer for the Miami Marlins. You can check that out on our YouTube. And we'll see you guys next Monday for a brand new episode. Have a good night and great rest of your week.